Ano ba ang hinahanap nyo sa isang kumakandidatong senador?
Madaling lapitan, open-minded.
Yung mapagkakatiwalaan.
Sino sa tingin nyo si Raffy Alunan?
Siya pwedeng maging tagapagsalita ng mga mahihirap. Magaling siya mag-negotiate.
Pagkakaalam ko, marami siyang natulungan mga kababayan natin.
Kilalang kilala yan nung panahon ni Fidel Ramos, yung dating Pangulo natin.
Iboboto nyo ba si Raffy Alunan?
Oo, iboboto ko si Raffy Alunan.
Number 1, si Raffy Alunan sa akin.
Welcome back. We're here at Philippines Uncut, and our guest is Raffy Alunan, and Jake Ortiz is still here with me to co-host. And Raffy, we were asking about your legislative agenda. What are you going to bring to the table for the Filipino people?
Yes, thank you for asking, Hans, Jake. I have a 5-point agenda. To me, the underpinning is good government. Okay, we have to look at the laws that ensure good governance. No, number 1 is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The other is the Code of Conduct for public officials, the Code of Ethics. And then you've got the revised penal code, the administrative code, etc. Including, I'll throw into the pot the local government code and the PNP law. I'm going to see which provisions are misaligned so that we can get alignment. I will see where provisions are weak so we can strengthen it. I will see where there are loopholes in the law so that we can close the gaps. Because we need to provide the executive branch the ammunition to be able to enforce the law and keep everybody in government straight. Okay. But there's a caveat that the people who are enforcing the law are themselves matino and mahusay.
Yes, that's right.
So voters, remember that. It starts with you. If you don't elect people who are matino and mahusay, they'll never be able to appoint people who are matino and mahusay, and will never get the job done. Second, related to the first, is the reform of the criminal justice system. We are talking of the police, prosecutors, jail, judges, and the jails, right? Anybody can escape the criminal justice system today because of crime and corruption within the 4 pillars of the criminal justice system. You have policemen who are crooked or incompetent. You have prosecutors who are the same, judges the same, jails the same. So at any time, people who are guilty of a crime can easily get out of it, evade and escape. So we have to strengthen and reform the criminal justice system by modernizing and professionalizing the system. The third and the fourth are related to each other. This is poverty reduction, human and ecological security. Okay, because they all relate to national development. Very important to me in poverty reduction is the revival of the agricultural sector, because most of the poor who are in Manila and other urban centers and who have gone abroad are from the agricultural sector.
And the average age of the farmer now is 58 years old.
The average age is 58 years old, and the youth don't want to stay in their farms,
Yes, that's
and so
right.
the farms will soon be untended.
It is because of the high cost of production
Well,
and low cost of low prices of.
there are many reasons.
No.
There are many reasons, but we need to revive it because there are many things that need to be fixed
Yes.
to be able to revive agriculture. The whole idea is if agriculture becomes profitable, if we are able to sustain that profitability, people will come back. We will reverse the diaspora and we'll be able to decongest the cities, right? And in so doing, prepare the cities for tourism development. Because right now it's so chaotic that the cities look very uninviting.
Yes,
all right?
that's true.
And then we can also decongest traffic,
Yes.
right? And lower the cost of doing business, right? And the ease of travel will be conducive for people to wish to come to the Philippines and enjoy their stay. Related to agricultural development is tourism development.
Yes.
To me, that is a better option than mining.
Yes.
Because to me, mining impacts on human and ecological security.
Yeah, yeah.
I have yet to see a mining company that has followed all of the rules
The guidelines,
needed
yeah,
to protect the environment
yeah.
and then to bring up the quality of life of their communities
That's true.
and to contribute to the national coffers compared to tourism.
Yes.
Tourism's
It's a better trade-off, yeah.
force multiplier
Yeah.
is tremendous compared to mining. So while we say irresponsible mining, nobody has met that standard. And mining damages the ecology and does not really provide for human security. Fifth and last, and which is very close to my heart, is internal security, public safety, and national defense. Because for so long, we've laid ourselves open to enemies or to threats to our national security. In Europe, when I visited Europe and went around the security community there, they told me, the way we see the Philippines is like one big rich bank without any fence. So anybody can just go in and out to steal whatever you have.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So we have to build our fences. And that's why we have to improve our internal security situation. We have to improve our public safety forces. That's police, jails, fire department. And we have to improve our national defense posture. That's the armed forces of the Philippines. That's the only way for us to be able to reduce the risk against the country, prepare for emergencies, and be able to manage crises as they come.
But Rafi, having said all this, how are you going to manage that? Let's say when you're in the Senate and everybody else doesn't see it the way you do.
Well, of course, that will require skills, political skills, to be able to get people to move over to your side. Leadership, there are no answers, easy answers to leadership, but we have to exercise leadership. And so that's one. The second is that aside from crafting laws, we can provide executive oversight because most of the problems that we have in this country is due to the failure of implementation.
Yes.
And that's the executive. And that's at the national and local level. And oftentimes, we're very dysfunctional. No? National says here, this, local goes there. Nobody's really talking to each other. And in the business sector where I come from, our main complaint against the national government is that ang dami mga smokestacks.
Yeah.
May Department of Tourism, may Department of DIA, etc., etc. Pero hindi naman nag-uusap.
Yeah.
They're not helping each other out. I just came from a tourism conference. The tourism cluster of this country is a failure.
Yes.
Because for tourism to move forward, other institutions of government must enable the Department of Tourism to be able to push its agenda, like the DOTC, like the DPWH, and so on and so forth.
The immigration,
Department of Justice.
justice, oh.
But if they don't talk to each other, they don't support the tourism agenda, useless ang cluster na yun. And what is the impact? The impact is on the Philippine economy and on the lives of tens of millions of Filipinos that depend on this industry.
Industries, yeah, that's right.
So the quality of our governance is poor. And that's because we have not really insisted or imposed on us high standards. We've always lowered our standards.
That's what I'm really worried about is
Yeah.
because when we look at the quality of the senators who are running
Yeah.
or the ones who are there at the present, it's very difficult. But Ravi, before we have a few minutes left to go, I want to really ask you. This is a mountain you're climbing. I've been there. I've been running always with almost an empty tank. We're running on ideals. We're running on dreams. Why do this? You're in your mid-60s already, and you have children. You have grandchildren, and you have a very good life. You come from Negros. You have twilight years supposedly ahead. Why do this?
Hans, I mentioned to you earlier that I was taught to hand over a country in much better shape than when I was born into it. And I've really embraced that idea. It's really instilled in me. I'm 68 years old. We have an empty nest at home.
Yeah.
I've taken care of my family. They're now standing on their own 2 feet. I have little time left. I don't want to face the moment when my grandchildren, I have 11 of them, and many of them are small, will come to me in my deathbed and say, "Hey, Lolo, before you die, can you tell us what did you do for us and to give us a better future?" And I have no answer. That is a nightmare. That is a personal nightmare. I'd like to be able to face them straight and look at them straight in the eye and say, "This is what I did." I think the other thing has to do also with patriotism, because very young in my life, we were also taught to love our country. And if we love our country, we'll do everything that we can to improve its situation. And it's not an abstract concept. To improve the situation, loving our country means caring for each other. And so, after taking care of my family, I'm prepared to help take care of the Filipino family. That's the reason why I'm going back.
So basically, what we're looking at is a different class of candidate. Somebody who is not going to be throwing flashy commercials at you. Somebody who is going to be talking a lot of rubbish, for lack of a better word, because even the things that are going on right now, the public doesn't even have an inkling of what's going on, the Panama Papers and all that. So it goes way beyond our heads, which means that we need people in government who are there to watch our backs, and they haven't been watching our backs. For the last 30 years, we've seen EPIRA, we've seen PIDAF, we've seen Napoles, we've seen the fertilizer scam, we saw Hello Garci, narco politics, smuggling, rice crisis, and all that. SAF 44, and these last 30 years just shows that we've been abandoned. I mean, nobody's been watching the back of the Filipinos. The politicians have helped themselves to what has been turned over to them in 1986.
That's one side of the story. The other side of the story is that we've been lowering our standards. We should be demanding higher standards, not only on ourselves, but also the people that we elect.
Tingin ko ikaw yung tumatakbo sa ngayon na sa Senado na hindi politiko.
Yes, that's just our impression. So, and that is what this called for. That's why I was glad that we are able to do this, because we're able to show the other side of the coin. This is good for us. The Filipinos should be able to determine what is going to be good for them. Down the line, we'll start with one senator, one or two senators, and then who knows? Probably people will want that type of change.
Hans, there's one thing that we didn't touch on, but I think it's important for me to say. A failure of education. The main reason why we're probably still the way we are is because we haven't educated ourselves properly. So comprehension is a problem. Paying attention to the important priorities in life is another problem. We haven't been trained to analyze properly. We've been trained to look for problems, but we haven't been trained properly to look for solutions and apply those solutions.
Tama.
Well, anyway,
so it's very, very important for us to focus on the essentials.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll keep on talking about the same problems over and over again.
Yes.
Ulit-ulit.
We'll be focusing on the effects rather than the root causes.
Si root cause. Ugat.
Well, we've run out of time, Rafi, and I know there's still a lot to talk about. So I'm glad that you're here and give the Filipino people a chance to see who you are and where you're coming from and the concern that comes out of your heart for the Filipino people. So I'm very proud that you're here with us, and I'd like to congratulate you. Made the decision to run.
Thank you, Hans. Jake,
So
salamat kid.
that's it for us today. I hope you liked our show for introducing Rafi Alunan, and next week we'll have somebody else. So thank you very much, and good night.
So, so that we can get alignment. I will see where provisions are weak so we can strengthen it. I will see where there are loopholes in the law so that we can close the gaps. Because we need to provide the executive branch the ammunition to be able to enforce the law and keep everybody in government straight. Okay. But there's governance, no? Number one is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The other is the Code of Conduct for public officials, the Code of Ethics. And then you've got the revised penal code, the administrative code, etc. Including, I'll throw into the pot the local government code and the PNP law. I'm going to see which provisions are misaligned.
Ano ba ang hinahanap nyo sa isang kumakandidatong senador?
Madaling lapitan. Open-minded.
Yung mapagkakatiwalaan.
And our guest is Rafi Alunan, and Jake Ortiz is still here with me to co-host. And Rafi, we were asking about your legislative agenda. What are you going to bring to the table for the Filipino people?
Yes, thank you for asking, Hans, Jake. I have a 5-point agenda. To me, the underpinning is good government. Okay, we have to look at the laws that ensure good governance.
Sino sa tingin nyo si Rafi Alunan?
Siya pwedeng maging tagapagsalita ng mga mahihirap. Magaling siya mag-negotiate.
Pagkakaalam ko, marami siyang natulungan mga kababayan natin.
Kilalang kilala yan nung panahon ni Fidel Ramos, yung dating Pangulo natin.
Iboboto nyo ba si Rafi Alunan?
Oo, iboboto ko si Rafi Alunan.
Number 1, si Rafi Alunan sa akin.
Welcome back. We're here at Philippines Uncut.